Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we get together and we examine headlines from our city, our state, and our country. And we take a look at your comments, your ideas, and suggestions, and we combine all this information to hopefully have better connections here in the city of Puerto Vallarta, our city, as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Tuesday, May the 10th, and it is Mother's Day in Mexico. I have an anecdote about that. It was actually, there are two very important daily newspapers in Mexico City. The oldest one is El Universal, and then there's Excelsior, which printed its first issue in the year of 1917. Well, in April of 1922, that is 100 years ago, Excelsior published an invitation for readers to submit a date in which Mexico could or should celebrate Mother's Day, and the date chosen was May the 10th. So ever since then, Mexico celebrates Mother's Day on May the 10th, regardless of what day of the week it is. So if there are any mothers watching, I wish you a happy, happy Mother's Day. As always, we welcome comments from all of you and welcome those of you who are joining us for the first time. If that is the case, we wish to give you a nice, proper welcome, and we do that by asking you to write the word new in your comment, and that way we will give you a nice little welcome. I also wish to apologize. I got so caught up this morning editing photos and stuff like that all of a sudden I looked up and I'm like, oh shit, it's 10:32. But that is no excuse, I'm sorry, Mark, to use this joke. Mexican time. Mexican time is racist and offensive. And I know that you did it with good intention, but just be mindful that we don't make fun of nationalities here at Coffee and Headlines, not even our very own. Last but not least, if you have any important question or comment that you wish to share with us, we ask that you kindly add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment, and that way we will be so happy to address them in the second half of the broadcast. Today, we have important news about face masks, but you probably already heard about it. We have some news about the repair or the construction work being done along the highway. We have news about the first Mexican astronaut going to space, and she's a woman and she's from our state. And we have other interesting things that I'm sure, or I hope, you will enjoy. So we might as well get started. Well, as I mentioned, without a doubt, the big news of the day is that yesterday, Governor Alfaro Um, Here it is. Governor Alfaro took to his Facebook page to announce that the state's health board has decreed that face mask use is no longer a mandate, with the exception of its use in public transportation and hospitals. And this is just in time for summer, when walking around and walking about with the heat and humidity is just slightly uncomfortable. Governor Alfaro was quick to remind the population that COVID is not gone and continues to be a serious problem in some parts of the world, so we must continue to remain mindful of this fact. Our state joins, excuse me, an increasing number of states in the country where the face mask mandate has been completely or partially eliminated. For example, Jalisco, our state, Baja California, Guanajuato, and Nuevo León have eliminated face mask use entirely. 15 other states, including Nayarit, have now removed the use of face masks in public places, and the 13 remaining states continue with the mandate to use face masks everywhere. Now, here are the 5 things you should know about face mask use in our state moving forward. Number 1, it is no longer a mandate in open spaces and schools. Number 2, it is still a mandate in public transportation units and hospitals. Number 3, it is advised to be used for people with respiratory illnesses and in enclosed places with poor ventilation or a large concentration of people. Number 4, Jalisco respects the right of people that choose to continue wearing a face mask wherever they go. And finally, frequently washing your hands is strongly advised. Now, how are we doing elsewhere in the country? Well, according to Health Undersecretary Hugo Lopez-Gatell, Mexico is currently registering an average of only 1 daily death due to COVID-19, and hospitalization is down to 2% for general beds and 1% with patients that require a ventilator. Moving on to other news, we've been talking about this repair or construction or improvement project in Las Juntas. Thanks to our city government, we have a few images of the work that is being undertaken at the new, and this is about a new rain drain. This is in Las Juntas, very close to the intersection with the state of Nayarit, and this is on the highway heading north. This is where the work is being undertaken, and as you can see, they've already cut through one of the lanes on the highway, and this is likely to become a traffic challenge at some point, but I'm glad to see that the work has begun, and hopefully they will finish it before the rain season is over. I also have great news about a 29-year-old woman who was born in our state and is presently studying a master's degree in electrical engineering at Johns Hopkins University in Maryland. I'm sure I pronounced that properly. No, I'm not. John Hopkins. Hopkins? Well, in that university, you know the university in Maryland. She is a student there, and she will become the first Mexican-born person and youngest American citizen to travel to space through a program called Space for Humanity. Katia Echazarreta is her name, and she was one of 7,000 applicants from almost 100 different countries to be chosen for the privilege. She will visit space aboard the 5th special trip organized by Blue Origin. And if you want to learn more about the flight and the rest of the crew, there is a press release available for you to read in English if you'd like. And now let's move on to our weather forecast just to see what we have in store. Oh, what do you mean Alert 102? Get that away. I waited decades for the Avatar 2 trailer, and yep, it's definitely a trailer for Avatar 2. Whatever. Our snarky weather says it's 28 degrees right now, feels like 29. Humidity is high at, well, not high, but it's high for me, 49%. It's only going to get worse. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees, if you are curious about that, is 83 degrees. And our forecast for today says partly cloudy through the day with a high of 32 and a low of 22. Tomorrow, Wednesday, humid through the day with a high of 32 and a low of 23. And Thursday, we will enjoy a humid and partly cloudy day with a high of 32 and a low of 22. Not bad, as long as we start getting used to this. Now, moving right along, this past Friday, we mentioned the concert comedian Anna Russell in our broadcast, the pre recorded one, and I asked you to write the phrase French horn in your comments if you wanted to watch her skit on this, on how to properly play the instrument. Since a few of you did write the phrase, I will leave you with a link to the YouTube video where this explanation is featured. The video is almost an hour and a half in length, and I truly recommend the whole concert. But if you want to cut to the chase, the link that we will share will take you directly to the French horn skit. Also, not at all related to Puerto Vallarta, but I think just as interesting and important, a beautiful new page in the history of musical has been written on this sweet Tiny Desk concert released just a few days ago, featuring the cast of the latest revival of the Alan Menken and Howard Ashman musical Little Shop of Horrors. The musical is currently celebrating its 40th anniversary or 40th birthday since it was first performed. And in the 22-minute long video, not only do you get to enjoy a few selections from the musical, but you also have composer Howard Ashman, who is, Alan Menken, composer Alan Menken, who is involved in the revival, providing commentary and insight about the creation process and the beauty of the late lyricist Howard Ashman's lyrics. We recall that Howard Ashman died of AIDS when the composer and the lyricist were still working together on the 1991 Disney animated film Beauty and the Beast. So if you're a fan of Little Shop of Horrors, I'm quite certain that you will enjoy watching this video as new actors take over its iconic roles. And last but not least, just because it's Mother's Day, I would like to introduce you to my late mother. Her name was Leonor, but everybody called her Moy. This photograph was taken in 2001, just days after I returned to Mexico after my 19 years of living in Boston. It was also the first time I spent Christmas with my parents since leaving home to study music in the United States, and sadly, it would become the last time I would spend Christmas time with them. Moy, and I called her Moy, and that upset my brothers because I didn't call her mother. Well, she was my mother and I loved her, but she was such a good friend that I always called her by her nickname, although this irked my brothers. She was a great friend. She is very much missed, but she is always present. She is always present. She is the one who taught me how to be kind and taught me how to treat people respectfully, particularly people in my country. She was a champion while my father was in politics of reaching out to the population, the lower classes, and empowering them to take care of themselves, to learn new skills, to learn crafts. She authored a book on the vegetables of Mexico and providing practical ideas on how to cook all the wonderful and often neglected vegetables and legumes in our country. That was my mom. She was a great lady. And now let us take a look at some of your comments today. Aside from your wonderful good mornings, let's see what we have. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in the cluster. Absolutely. Oh no, Rita is ending her tenure in Boston, her tenure in Puerto Vallarta. Lots to do. We will miss you this summer. Hello, Den. I am so glad that you are here because your being here has something to do with something that I forgot to mention. And I'm going to mention it right now because this is something that we received yesterday. As you know, whenever we have questions, whenever I receive questions through email for which the answers have to do with or would benefit more than one person, we always like to answer those questions here during the live broadcast. And I received this yesterday. I was asked about wheelchair access in Old Puerto Vallarta. Old Puerto Vallarta. Gotta love that. And came up short. I told my friend that if she stayed within a block or two of the Malecon, she would probably be fine. But elsewhere, have you ever done an examination of disability access, location, and frequency of ramps in various colonias, etc.? I think it would be of great value to visitors. Okay, let's break this one down. Have I ever done an examination of disability access? No. Do we care about wheelchair access? Very much so, and that's why I was happy to see that Den popped up in the conversation. The notion of it would be of great value to visitors, I completely agree. However, for better or for worse, and we mention this constantly, we mention it at the beginning of every broadcast, we are a project devoted to English-speaking locals. So why is that? Because there's a plethora of information available for English-speaking tourists elsewhere online. So to the very wonderful person that sent me this letter, I think you would better serve your friend by directing him or her to these other forums that cater to visitors. Now, your friend could also tune in to our daily broadcasts where he or she might find some of the viewers that are willing and able to share further insight. But for better or worse, and as you know quite well, we've chosen to focus our attention primarily and pretty much exclusively on the English-speaking community of Puerto Vallarta that consider themselves locals. I am sure you will find plenty of information elsewhere, and I wish you the best of luck in doing so. Moving right along, let's see what else we have. Oh, and thank you, Dan, for popping in. You totally reminded me that I wanted to talk about this. I hope you and Kathy are doing good. Let's see. Ba-ding-bum-bum. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but did you get to use the BB&B coupon on your trip? I did not, and I will explain why in our wonderful content that we're putting together about the trip to Guadalajara, which should be ready sometime late this week or beginning of next. Let's see what else we have. Christy, this is very timely, thank you. And a very good friend who has always been so careful just came down with COVID in PB. Be aware that it is not over. You are absolutely certain. I mean, you're absolutely correct. You know, it's bound to happen to all of us at some point or another. I'm glad to see that it's so much of a lesser concern, but I continue to be mindful of it, and I will probably continue to wear my face mask whenever I am around people just out of habit. Of course, I'm grateful that now that summer is coming, it's not going to be such a challenge. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Oh, I can clearly see when some of your comments are not for me because I have no idea what you're talking about. When Rod Hardy writes, wow, it's a huge hole for sure. I don't know how you ended up talking about holes. Let's see what else. I see lots of beautiful comments about the photograph with my mother. Thank you so very much. Let's see. Mateo. Yes, Katia is the first female Mexican astronaut, but the first Mexican in outer space was Rodolfo Neri Vela back in 1985. He is now 70. Thank you very much for the update. Could you please tell us the name of your mother's book? Thank you. You know, I'd have to look it up because honestly, I don't remember. It was only published in a short edition, a small edition. So this is not something, unfortunately, that you can go and find at the store or at the bookstore, rather. Dan says, Kathy and I have never done a formal examination of disability access either. I am sure the government of the city must have information about this. And again, back to the person that asked, all you have to do is ask around, um, plain and simple. Let's see. Da, da, dee, da, 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 da. Michal says, yes, you just get out there and figure it out. I mean, I can tell you that, if you want to be in Versalles, we know that Versalles is fairly wheelchair friendly because this happens to be the neighborhood that our friends Dan and Kathy chose to live in, and they are absolutely happy. But if your friend is just showing up for a few days and wants to know where to be, there are other places to find more specific information than coffee and headlines, or I should say iced coffee and headlines, as we've started our iced coffee season here at headquarters. Gina Hendricks stops by to say hello. I am going through a whiskey kitchen withdrawal because we've been out of town and we haven't been for a few days. I think I haven't been to whiskey kitchen in over a week. So Gina, I'll pop by and say hello sometime in the near future. And this, of course, brings us to the end of Coffee and Headlines today. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. And once again, I hope everyone that is celebrating Mother's Day has a wonderful time with your mother or your kids. Happy Mother's Day, and hopefully we'll get together again soon, maybe even tomorrow. Be mindful of your face mask use. One more question. Did Luna welcome you home with much love? Oh, did she ever? She absolutely wanted me to spend every minute with her. If I was sitting here at the computer, she jumped on my lap. And when she was not here, she was meowing from the bedroom, expecting me to cuddle with her in bed all day long. And that is pretty much what we did. So now we are to the end of the broadcast. Stay kind, stay happy, stay wonderful. Happy Mother's Day, and I'll see you again soon.